Alright guys, today we're looking a little more at graphing equations. So pay attention in this video. I'm probably going to have a little quiz after the video is over, just to make sure you're paying attention. Alright, so this first little bubble here, an equation whose graph is a straight line is called this is two words, and we're talking about a linear equation. Okay, anytime you're talking about a linear equation, notice the word line right here. So let's actually underline this, the word line. Okay, so a linear equation means a straight line. Okay, keyword line. If you see the word line in linear right here, you should think that's going to be, when I graph that, I'm going to have a straight line. So here's an example. McKenna is 5 years older than Ashton. How can you graph this situation? Alright, so first thing you want to try to do is come up with an equation. Alright, so basically this is what we have. You have McKenna's age. Okay, so McKenna's age is equal to Ashton's age and then what would you do with that? McKenna is 5 years older than Ashton. So however old Ashton is, it doesn't matter throughout his life, you could use this equation. You're going to do what to Ashton's age to get to McKenna's age? Well, McKenna is 5 years older than Ashton. So Ashton's age, we have to add plus 5. Okay? So this could work. Doesn't matter how old Ashton is. If he was 25, you add 5 to that. That means McKenna's going to be 30, right? If Ashton was 1 year old and you add 5 years to that, that means McKenna's going to be 6 years old. Okay? So this could represent McKenna and Ashton throughout their life. Okay? So now we want to try to represent this with some y's and x's. Okay? So remember, when you go to write an equation, these type of equations, you always want to start out with y. So let's say that McKenna is equal to y, okay, and Ashton is equal to x. Alright, so how would we write this equation using the y and the x? Well, we just go up here and replace McKenna with the y. So we have y is equal to, and then Ashton, which is going to be x, and then we just fill in the rest, plus 5. Okay, so here is our equation with the y. Alright? So, step 2, you could make a table. These are our x's here going across the top, and these are our y's. Okay, sometimes maybe you might see the x column over here, and you put the x's underneath, and the y's would be over here. On this one, they just put the x. These are my x values going across, and these are my y values going across. Okay, so when you go to do this, depending on, eventually here we're going to graph it, but you want to keep it as simple as you can for yourself. So let's say this graph here, we're going to go ahead and fill in. This is going to be 0, 0 down in the corner, so you got 0 and 0 here. And we're just going to make it easy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And going up, we'll count by 2's. We'll go 2, 4, 6. And actually, I don't know why this graph, I want to make 0, 0 down here. Sorry guys, just erase this part here. We need to come down a little bit lower so we can get all this on our graph. Okay. So let's come down with these lines a little bit. Just extend them down. So we got 2, 4. All right, this will work. Sorry about that, guys. Sometimes you make mistakes. You gotta use an eraser. Hopefully you guys have an eraser. Okay, so this would be my 0. This would be my 0 here. So if I'm counting by 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's extend this up as well, so we can make our 10 up there. And this would be 10 up here. Okay, and counting across the bottom, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so make
sure your graph looks like this. All right, so if I wanted to go ahead and put in some x values, all right, so my x values, I'm going from 1 all the way up to 5. I only have places for 3 spots here. So let's go ahead and we're just going to use, for my x values, we'll make it really simple. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now, that means with my x value, I'm going to put it into my equation. So if I put in this 1 and I put it in for the x here, my equation would be y is equal to 1 plus 5. Okay, so what is 1 plus 5? Well, 1 plus 5 is 6. So that is what y is equal to. So if x is 1, y is going to be 6. All right? Same thing with 2. If I put 2 in for x, that's 2 plus 5. 2 plus 5 is 7. So if x is 2, y is going to be 7. And if I put in 3 for my x, 3 plus 5 is 8. So if x is 3, y is 8. All right. Now that I have my table here, I can graph these points on my graph because I have an x value and a y value, and I have enough to make 1, 2, 3 points. All right. So this first one would be 1, 6, or 1 comma 6. Okay, so we can go ahead and write these points that I'm going to write over here. One of them is going to be 1 comma 6. One's going to be 2 comma 7. Okay, because remember your x value is always first and then your y value, right? And the other one is going to be 3 comma 8. All right, so I can graph those 3 points. Okay? If you know how to graph those, go ahead, pause it for a second and graph it yourself, and then once you get it graphed, unpause it and see if you got the same thing I did. All right, so first one, 1, 6. So remember, you start at the origin. Why don't we label that here just for a little refresher that you guys remember that this is the origin. 0, 0 is the origin, okay? So 0, 0, that's where you always start when you're going to graph something, right here. Now what this 1 means is how far over I go on the x-axis. So remember, guys, this is my x-axis. Going up this way, this is my y-axis. Okay, so my x-axis is down here, my y-axis is here. So I'm going to go over 1 and up how many? 6. And I'm going to graph 1, 6 right here. Okay? You want to make sure you get it right on the intersection where 1 intersects with 6. Alright, so the next one is 2, 7. So I go over 2. Now notice I don't have a 7 over here, so I just have to put it between 6 and 8. So this is going to be 2, 7. And my last one is going to be 3, 8. So I go over 3 and up 8. Now, if I did this correctly, when I go to connect these lines, okay, you might want to use a ruler sometimes. That'll help you. Okay? But if I went and connected these lines with the ruler, and it goes through them all, okay, this is what your graph should look like. And this is called
a linear equation because it's an equation whose graph is a straight line. All right, I have a straight line here. This is a linear equation. All right, so that's how you can graph these equations. So look this over. I'm going to give you guys a little quiz on this. All right? Okay, thanks for listening.